When your cat suddenly stares into empty space at night, do you actually know what that means? It looks creepy. Like they've seen something you can't. But behind that strange stillness, there's something deeper that most people miss. It's one of the most emotionally loaded things your cat can do. And if you ignore it or respond the wrong way, which most owners do, you might be missing signals your cat is trying to give you about their world and yours. Let's start with what that eerie behavior really means. It's not seeing ghosts. It's heightened awareness you don't have. Have you ever noticed? Your cat freeze, stare at a corner, or suddenly track something invisible across the room. Most people think it's something supernatural. But here's what's actually happening. Your cat is detecting movement or sound that your senses simply can't pick up. Cats hear higher frequencies and can detect tiny vibrations like insects in walls or distant shifts in the environment. What feels like nothing to you is a full sensory event to them. Think about that for a second. You're sitting in silence, but your cat is surrounded by signals you don't even know exist. In the wild, this level of awareness is survival. Missing a small movement could mean missing prey or danger. What this reveals about your cat is powerful. They're not reacting to nothing. They're protecting their environment. And by the way, if your cat ever suddenly stops reacting like this, altogether, don't brush it off. We'll get to why that matters later, and it's something most owners misunderstand. Their brain never fully turns off at night. Now think about this. Why does this behavior happen more at night, when everything feels quieter and more intense? Most people assume cats just get weird after dark. Here's what's actually happening. A 2018 study from the University of California found that cats are crepuscular, meaning they are most active during dawn and dusk. Their brains are wired to stay alert when light fades. Another study from the University of Tokyo showed that cats maintain higher baseline sensory vigilance even at rest compared to many other domestic animals. But what does that mean emotionally? It means your cat is never fully relaxed the way you are, even when they're lying still. Part of their mind is scanning. Your cat staring into the dark isn't fear. It's focus. Think about that. While you're winding down, your cat is entering their most alert state. And here's where it gets even more meaningful. They choose to stay near you during this heightened awareness. They're mapping your home as a shared territory. Now, have you ever noticed your cat staring at the same spots repeatedly? The same wall, the same doorway, the same corner. Most people think it's random. But here's what's actually happening. Cats build mental maps of their territory using scent, memory, and spatial awareness. They revisit areas to check them, confirming everything is still the same. Researchers who study feline behavior call this environmental monitoring, and it's deeply tied to scent. Even if you can't see it, your cat has left invisible scent markers all around your home. These marks tell them, this place is safe. This belongs to me. This belongs to us. So when your cat stares into a quiet corner at night, they're not lost. They're verifying. Think about that for a second. They're maintaining the emotional stability of your shared space. What makes this even more meaningful is they're not just protecting their territory. They're protecting the space you exist in together. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. This behavior comes from ancient survival instincts. Let's go deeper. Why does this feel so intense? So primal? Here's what most people don't realize. Your cat's ancestors survived by detecting threats in near darkness. They evolved to read shadows, track subtle motion, and respond instantly to the unknown. In those conditions, hesitation meant danger. Behavioral scientists have observed that domestic cats still carry these instincts even in safe homes. So when your cat suddenly walks onto something you can't see, they're not imagining it. They're responding exactly the way their survival system was designed to. Think about that. That stillness, that focus, that sudden movement. It's ancient. And here's where it becomes emotional. Despite all that instinct, they stay near you. They don't run. They don't hide. They remain in your space, which means something changed over time. You became part of their safety system. They don't react this way around just anyone. Now ask yourself this. Does your cat behave this way in every environment? Or do they seem more alert, more watchful when they're with you? Most people overlook this. Here's what's actually happening. Cats adjust their vigilance based on trust. Studies on domestic cats reveal they relax differently depending on who they're with and where they are. If your cat feels uncertain, they become more alert. If they feel secure, they share that awareness. So when your cat stares into the dark, while staying close to you, they're not distancing themselves. They're including you. Think about that for a second. They could leave the room. They could hide, but they stay and scan. What makes this even more meaningful is they're not just protecting themselves. They're watching over the space you share. And in their mind, that includes you. This is what most owners never realize. Now, let's go to the deepest layer, because this is where everything changes. Have you ever seen your cat stare into the dark, then slowly relax when you speak, or move closer to you? Most people ignore that moment, but here's what's actually happening. Your cat is using you as a reference point for safety. Animal cognition. Research shows that cats adjust their emotional responses based on human cues, your voice, your movement, your calmness. So when they detect something unfamiliar, they check you. And if you're calm, they settle. Think about that. In a moment where their instincts are telling them to stay alert, they choose to trust your state instead. Remember, earlier when I said if your cat suddenly stops reacting like this, don't ignore it. This is what I was talking about. Because this behavior isn't just about awareness. It's about connection. Every time your cat looks into the unknown, and then back to you, they're asking one silent question: are we safe? And when they relax, it means your presence answered it. When the behavior changes, it means something shifted. Now let's talk about what most people miss. What if your cat suddenly becomes overly reactive at night, or stops responding entirely? Most people assume it's random. Here's what's actually happening. A sudden increase in nighttime alertness can signal stress, environmental changes, or even discomfort. On the other hand, a complete lack of response may indicate low energy or health concerns. Cats communicate through behavior shifts, not noise. So, if your cat's nighttime reactions suddenly change, pay attention. Look for subtle differences.